Good afternoon. My name is Renee Hebert, and my leadership project was to identify a new career path and begin the process of a new job search. Recent events, while challenging, are also providing a time of self-reflection and new focus. This presentation provides a glimpse into some of these revelations. In brief, the following presentation will walk you through an overview of my project, along with my vision, goals, and achievements. I have also reflected upon the challenges I have encountered, the barriers I still need to overcome, and the next steps along my journey. I have spent a good majority of my career in management and leadership positions, but I must admit I struggled a bit with this particular topic, for I was forced to examine my perspective from a different lens, so to speak. I am not currently employed, so I do not have a direct team or business problem which I am trying to address. Instead, I am focusing on the next chapter in my life. I am exploring what new direction I want to go and how to expand existing and new networks and develop resources and ask for help. Coupled against the backdrop of a pandemic, this has been a soul-searching journey. And while some may look at the global economy, new diseases, and unprecedented job losses and see crisis, somewhere hidden in there is a potential opportunity. I have spent the last couple of decades in various positions in engineering, quality, project management, and business development. I have worked primarily in manufacturing. However, I am exploring different career paths now that I am unemployed. This may be with a startup, something more entrepreneurial, or perhaps a nonprofit. In other words, my goal is to identify what I want to be when I grow up. I have approached this goal like many of my previous projects. First of all, I recognize finding a job alone is a difficult prospect, so I need to identify a team. In this case, the team consists of resources provided by the Graduate Career Management Center, William & Mary Executive Partners, and others. There were and are many challenges in this project. However, most have been superseded or, at the very least, impacted by the coronavirus pandemic. While I was hopeful to have achieved more in the past several weeks, the challenges we are facing have helped me realign my priorities and have provided some clarity and direction. The only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. Helen Keller. I would love to find a job that I find personally and professionally rewarding, something that challenges me creatively and intellectually and applies skills that I have acquired throughout my career. I also recognize the importance of maintaining a harmony between my professional commitments and those of my family, so I want to find a position that allows me to spend time with my loved ones. My vision is to find a job that is inspiring and challenging, while allowing me to balance family priorities. The trouble with not having a goal is that you can run up and down the field and never score. Bill Copeland. All goals identified were bounded by the time horizon of this class and not by the ultimate goal of finding a job. Given the schedule, my goal was threefold. 1, identify 2 local charities in the Southeast Georgia area that I feel impassioned in supporting and potentially seeking employment. 2, identify 2 alumni through the Graduate Career Management Center that are working at companies in which I have an interest and reach out to them via email to schedule informational interviews. And 3, conduct informational interviews with 3 executives associated with the Executive Partners Initiative through William & Mary. These executives would have backgrounds or company experience in line with my future career aspirations. If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulder of giants. Isaac Newton. The team required for this project was slightly unconventional, or at the very least atypical for me, as they did not volunteer, nor were they assigned. This was more an act of networking, asking for help and seeking outside resources for information. I initially made contact with the William & Mary Graduate Career Management Center and was provided with information on the Executive Partners Program. They also connected me with an external career counselor who is assisting me with updating my resume and providing guidance on how to position myself and offering other career coaching services. In addition, I have used online resources such as charitynavigator.org and guidestar.org to help with my research on nonprofit companies in my area. You miss 100% of the shots you never take. Wayne Gretzky. The action plan was broken into 3 segments in order to tackle each of the overarching goals. For the first goal of simply identifying nonprofits in the area, my planned actions were as follows. Identify 10 or more potential charities in Southeast Georgia by March 27th. Develop a list of personal priorities and weights, and then rank the prospects or the prospective charities by April 3rd. And from this prioritized list, identify 2 to 3 charities and potential volunteering opportunities at each of them by April 10th. For the second goal, my action plan was to 1, identify 3 companies in the local area or companies that may offer flexible or remote working opportunities by April 3rd. 2, with the help of the Graduate Career Management Center, identify any alumni that are currently working for these companies by April 10th, and then email the alumni an introduction letter and schedule an informal conversation to discuss the companies and work opportunities, etc. by April 24th. Finally, for the third goal, my planned actions were as follows. Research the biographies of 10 executives associated with the Executive Partners Initiative at William & Mary by April 10th. Select 3 executives with backgrounds that are consistent with my skills and interests and request an informal interview. Develop a list of questions and talking points prior to each of these calls, and then conduct the informal interviews with 3 executives by May 1st. As I live in a very remote area of Georgia, the opportunities in this area are limited. These geographical constraints, coupled with family obligations and other priorities, creates challenges in finding a perfect fit. I wanted to use this opportunity to further expand my network, reveal hidden occupations that I may not have previously considered, and discover new potential careers that would take advantage of my previous experience. I was hoping to have achieved clarity and a sense of direction by the end of this project. From a quantitative perspective, I fell short on my goals, but from a qualitative perspective, I feel encouraged that I made progress. What do I mean by that? I mean that I did not achieve many of the specific actions or goals. For instance, I did not identify 10 local companies, nor did I reach out to 3 executive partners. However, I was able to get feedback on my resume. I increased my volunteerism at local charities. I further developed an understanding of how to position my skills, and I have a better understanding of what energizes me the most. I have also identified the types of organizations and their espoused values that allows me to perform at my best. Most importantly, I feel a strong pull now towards working with nonprofits. I have always had a strong affinity towards education and STEM, and I've gotten great satisfaction recently in working with the local food banks. So although I may have fallen short on reaching my defined goals, at least I now have a specific direction that is guiding my future actions. Challenges are what make life interesting, and overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. Joshua J. Marine. The coronavirus pandemic has created barriers and challenges for almost everyone to overcome. I, like many others, have now taken on the burden and joy of homeschooling, babysitting, haircutting, lawn mowing, etc. I must admit that I never foresaw the amount of extra work and emotional energy that this pandemic would inflict. With turmoil in the employment market, this also means that the job search timeline has been extended, and I am more sensitive to how and when I approach people from whom I am seeking help. It also meant that resources that were once easy to track down became much more difficult, at least initially, until we have finally settled into a new norm. In addition, the actions and work stream morphed as I went along. For instance, I had not expected to meet with a career coach, but this proved very helpful. I had thought that my resume was in pretty good shape, but ended up making some adjustments based upon her feedback. This further pushed my timeline to the right, as I wanted to make sure that I was adequately prepared with my resume and motivations before reaching out to potential new networks. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Winston Churchill. Again, even though I did not meet all of my goals, I do feel like I have made progress and have been able to reflect on how my personality and style may have influenced my ability to achieve what I originally set out to accomplish. First of all, I found it was helpful to define and clearly communicate what my goal was, but also be flexible in adjusting the goals as needed. I also believe that the feedback received from my professor, classmates, and career coach was extremely valuable. Everyone provided a different viewpoint of the problem, and each gave advice that was helpful, pertinent, and unique. This allowed me to approach the problem with the combined knowledge base and creativity of diverse vantage points, further validating the importance of teamwork and diversity. This project also tested some of my shortcomings. I am typically not a procrastinator. However, as an introvert, reaching out to new people and asking for help is not something I am very comfortable doing, and likely was a significant reason for much of the push-out in my schedule. I should have recognized this from the beginning and set more realistic goals that acknowledged this personal challenge and provided a more reasonable series of tasks that I could achieve. This project also made me acknowledge and address my weakness in networking. As a result, I have included this as part of my action plan and my leadership development plan. So the journey will continue. So where am I going from here? As I mentioned, I have defined a set of actions in my leadership development portfolio that integrate into my job hunt. In order to increase my comfort in networking, I will start by reaching out at least once a week to connect with someone either directly or indirectly. This includes further discussions with my career counselor and actively reaching out and emailing or talking to executive partners or alumni. It also includes indirect communication and networking, such as posting on social media boards and actively managing my LinkedIn profile. In parallel to these activities, I will also be further refining my resume based on the feedback I have received, and I'm developing a personal value proposition that I can clearly communicate. Finally, I am also continuing to research nonprofits or other companies in the local area and expanding my volunteering positions and roles. I have always loved Lewis Carroll and the story of Alice in Wonderland. The characters and their exchanges, while whimsical and entertaining, are also thought-provoking and profound. As you can probably tell by now, I also love quotes, so I will leave you with this one final thought from Alice in Wonderland that I found particularly fitting for this project.
Oh, wait! Don't go, please!
Very well. Third course.
Oh, no. Thank you, but I just wanted to ask you which way I ought to go.
Well, that depends on where you want to get to.
Oh, it really doesn't matter. As long as I can...
Then it really doesn't matter which way you go.